Good morning, everyone, and Monarch Cafe followers. It's been a while, so today I thought I'd do a little bit of a video for you guys to show you what I'm making for dinner tonight for my family. So I'm a little homesick. I was visiting my aunt a couple of months ago in Florida, and I didn't get to get any Cuban food while I was home. So today you're in for a special treat. Today we're going to do a dish called Fricassee de Pollo, which is chicken fricassee, and it's a Cuban dish. So we're going to go over here and I'm going to show you our ingredients that you need today if you want to do this dish. And for us busy moms like myself, this is a dish you can do stovetop, which is preferable, but you can also accomplish this with a crock pot if you're really in a hurry or you need to get going for the day. Just make sure you cook it on medium to low heat. All right, so reverse the camera. All right, now, so it's time to make our marinade. And again, we mentioned before, we have our chicken here in our bowl, and we're going to add our lime juice, orange juice, and garlic. And we're going to let that sit here on the chicken and let it marinate for at least an hour, hour and a half. You can kind of tell your chicken will have a slightly different color to it, and you're not going to get rid of that marinade. You're going to preserve that because we're going to use that to finish off this dish in here shortly. All right, so now we have our chicken, our lime and orange juice, and garlic, and the chicken is in the bowl here. And as I mentioned before, we're going to wrap this tight with some plastic for at least an hour so that it marinades, and then when we come back, we're going to have our olive oil in our hot pan here. That's already ready in our hot pan, and we're going to brown it down really nice and golden before we continue on with our recipe. Now, for those of you who choose to go with the crock pot option, at this point, this stage really is necessary to go ahead and let this marinate. So if you know you're going to do the crock pot method, you want to do this the night before. Go ahead and let your meat marinate overnight. Can't hurt, it just makes it even better. And in that case, if you're going to do it overnight and do the crock pot method, you want to go ahead and pre-chop and have your pico ready and add that to this marinade mixture so that everything is soaked in really well there at that stage. And if you want a little bit of a kick, you could add a pepper at that point too. Hold off on your salt and pepper. You wouldn't need that yet until you actually got everything in there. So while this is marinating for an hour, we're going to go ahead and pre-chop our peppers, our olives, and our carrots over here. And we'll just go ahead and kind of get everything done. And if you want to, with cold water, you can go ahead and rough cut your potatoes and put them in some cold water as well. And you know, your green onions, excuse me, that'll go ahead over here with your cilantro and your parsley mix. So you can go ahead and slightly mince and chop everything and just kind of get all your prep work ready while this is marinating for 1 hour. So when we come back, we're going to go ahead and brown this down. All right, so we are back after 1 hour. We've got our saucepan here, our saute pan here, and got our pico off to the side, our butter, our olive oil, and our chicken is marinated. So now, at this point, we're going to go ahead, get this turned back up a little bit for us. Get our flame going underneath here. I'm on a gas stove, but use what you have available. Now we're going to do, at this point, we're going to be browning our chicken. So I'm using Kerrygold. You can use whichever butter you're comfortable with. Unsalted is best. Salted is okay, but just remember to reduce it on the other end when you're coming back with your salt. So in our pan here, we're going to just melt our butter here into the pan. Get that going really nicely. And while that's going, I'm going to do half of my half a stick. So we're going to go ahead and get that cooked down. And then we'll add our chicken in here as that gets heated up really well in the pan. All right, now that our butter is melting, we'll go ahead and add just a little bit of our olive oil to that mix. That butter will help to brown. And that olive oil, obviously, to help cook that chicken down really well. Nice and even. All right, so now we got that going. Everything's nice and hot. We're going to go ahead and you can pat dry or just shake off your excess fluid from your chicken pieces. I'm using thighs. And we're just going to place them into the pan. Again, you want to shake off as much of the excess juice from the marinade as possible, but you are going to preserve that on the side. And again, I got a question for why is it butter and oil? The butter is actually what's going to brown your chicken. That oil is going to go ahead and ensure it cooks all the way through. So that's the purpose of both. I prefer thighs. They're just juicier. They're great for the marinade. They just kind of take on that flavor a lot better. Breasts are just really kind of hard to deal with as far as flavor goes. They're drier. And I can do a separate video as far as how to cook the chicken breast and maintain that moisture in those. But for this particular dish, that's not what we're using. All right. I just got a couple of small pieces left. So we are going to let these all brown down into the pan. And I'm just taking some of that excess garlic that's in there, adding it to this mixture. We're going to go ahead and cover this. And I'll check on this periodically until everything is browned. And we'll be back to finish this dish up. All right, so we are back. Get that on the right side. And while our chicken was browning, I went ahead and pre-cut our vegetables here on the side. And again, if you need a refresher of the ingredients list, I'll have it again at the end. And again, also, as a reminder, you want to make sure that you did preserve your marinade because you're going to use that later. So as you can see now, all of our chicken pieces are nice and brown, and that's exactly what you want. You want that nice golden brown, looking good on all sides. Again, I used thighs. Thighs are great for just about any dish, but especially for these kind of dishes. Don't worry about your brown bits at the bottom. That's just your butter, and that's going to all disappear when we add our marinade back and our vegetables that are remaining. But in the meantime, we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and take advantage of all this beautiful brown goodness that's down here underneath this chicken. So we're going to go ahead and remove these pieces onto a plate or whatever you have handy, plate or bowl, something, off to the side. And this smells absolutely amazing. And here with that garlic and butter, a little olive oil that helped to go ahead and get everything golden brown for us. Leave all your brown bits, just take your chicken out. You got some small pieces, that's fine, but you want to get your bigger pieces out for sure. Now, with all this wonderful brown goodness here at the bottom of the pan, you can just kind of give that a quick little rub. And as you can see with Salad Master, nothing's going to stick for you, but it's nothing burned, so it just comes right up anyway with the oil and the butter combination. That's why we do a mix. So now, with what's remaining, we're going to take our homemade pico that we had earlier, along with all of our vegetables. And we want to get them soft. So we're going to go ahead, starting with our peppers and everything here on our cutting board. Just going to go ahead and add these back into the pan, and we're going to wilt them back into the remaining juice of butter and oil. And we're going to cook everything down until they are softened. And this is only going to be for your bell peppers and your onion mix. So I just wanted to give you an example, show you how we do that, and then we'll go ahead and add the remainder. Now you're going to get a little bit of juice when you add in your pico, so probably want to just kind of pour that in from the side to reduce the splatter. Get everything in there nice. And we're just going to mix that in. And as you can see, that's going to pick up all that nice flavor that we had earlier from our chicken. Just spread this down, and we're going to let everything, not necessarily brown, but definitely get it until it's all soft. And when we come back, I will add in our carrots and our potatoes and bring everything to a boil, and then we'll reintroduce our chicken and the remainder of our broth. So that's what we're going to do when we come back. All right, so we are back, and it is time to add in our potatoes, our olives. I'm adding carrots. That is optional. That is not required for this dish, but since it is essentially a chicken stew, I like to beef up as many, no pun intended, vegetables as possible. So we've got our salt and pepper, and we've got our dry white rind, and I like to add, just for a little extra kick, some of the Badilla Sazon is really good with flavor. I know Goya makes one too. And again, at this point, our chicken should still be sitting off to the side. It's not time to quite add that in just yet. So, now, you can see everything is nice and beautiful in the color. Everything is cooked down. The current vegetables are cooked down and soft, and the flavor, the aroma is just amazing. So now at this point, we're going to go ahead and turn the heat up a little bit. And we're going to add in our carrots. Any of your harder vegetables at this point, whatever it is that you choose to do. I have a few friends that like to use the green yam as well at this point. I don't use the green yam simply because it's not available here. I think it will taste amazing. So we're going to add our potatoes. And again, this is I have a very large serving here, so that's why I have the volume that I have. So add our potatoes, and for me, I did 5 probably medium-sized potatoes. And then we'll go ahead and throw our olives in there. If you want to use raisins, they usually do call for raisins. I have not added any raisins today. And then our dry white rind. Just enough to kind of, you wet the top of your veggies, and that's probably enough to go ahead and do that. I like to cook this down a little bit before I add in my raisins. I like to add them toward the end so they're just not so full of the starch. Add our pack of Sazon that's over there, and just one pack. If you're using a much smaller container or volume of food, you definitely want to go with probably half. But that's got a lot of flavor. And just go ahead and mix that in. And we're going to bring this to a boil. When you see it starting to simmer up pretty good, that'll be a good point to go ahead and add in your handful of raisins. I'm at that point. And I know raisins sounds weird, right? When you're dealing with olive and potatoes and bell peppers and all that stuff. It just gives a little bit of sweetness back. If you don't want to use the raisins, that's why I like to use the carrots. So you get the same effect, but you're not necessarily using raisins. So again, we brought the heat up on this. We're going to bring this back to a boil. Once it gets to a boil and everything, at least the potatoes are cooking down really well, at that point, that's where we're going to add our chicken back into this mixture. So we'll be back. We'll add our chicken and just a few raisins so you can kind of see what they do once they hit the sauce. All right, we are back. And again, just a reminder, we added all of our vegetables. As you can see, our chopping block or cutting boards are empty with the exception of our garnish. So, I'm gonna go ahead and take the top off of that. Doesn't that look amazing? Everything is cooked down. Carrots and everything nice cooked, not soft, just firm. At that point, that's when we want to go ahead and add our chicken back in. If you choose to chop this chicken up, you can, but it's not necessary. All right, starting it over. So now everything is cooked down, so we're just going to add our chicken back into our pot with our vegetables that are cooked down, and they're at a boiling point now. This is when you want to add them in. There's no need to cut up your chicken unless you just choose to do so. However, if you elect to use breast or full leg quarters, this may be a time that you want to break that down just a little bit. If you're using leg quarters, I would suggest taking this entire mixture, putting it into a Dutch oven or something casserole-like, and I would put it in the oven on 425 for about 45 minutes at this point, just so that it cooks all the way through to your bone. It's tender. It cooks all the way through, but it doesn't break up your pieces if that's what you're going for your larger pieces. So, get all these added back in like this. And I'm just going to allow this to continue to boil down. No need to bury it too deep. I'm going to break mine, put mine in here kind of deep because I personally like, you see how it's already falling apart? I like it to really be tender and broken up into my vegetables a lot. So I do that, but that is your choice, how you want to do that part. So everything is in there. I'm going to go ahead and close that back up. And as you can see now, got our sign already set in place, and our place setting is ready to go. So when that's ready, we can plate it and give you a complete product. We have plantains, soft cooked plantains, which we call maduras. The only difference between them and plantains or platanos is that they're not hard. You can have them hard or soft. Since we're doing a chicken stew, I elected to make them soft. And we have simple rice here. I did use jasmine today. So when we return, we'll have our beverage and we'll plate our meal, and I will post the ingredients for you all. All right, so it's time to wrap this up. We got our plate over here ready to plate this meal. Gonna go ahead and take the top off here, and as you can see, this fricassee is ready to go. It looks amazing. You see all these nice pieces of the vegetables and chicken. Everything is cooked. Our vegetables are firm, not hard, not soggy. You don't want them soggy. So you can always test that fork tender with one of your carrots. You see how it goes right through that carrot? And you can do the same thing with your potatoes to get them firm. Cooked in, excuse me, not too firm. So, we are going to go ahead and plate this beautiful meal. That. Just want to get a little bit of that juice all over that rice. That nice flavor. Just like so. And we'll go ahead and bring this back over for you guys. And so, there you go, guys, from Marnat Cafe today. We've got Fricassee de Pollo or chicken fricassee or chicken stew, Cuban chicken stew, depending on where you are, what you want to give it a call. And we got a little bit of jungle juice here. If you want the ingredients for the jungle juice, I will include them in the description for you as well. It's been fun. Thank you guys for joining us today from Monarch Cafe. Today we made chicken fricassee and it's been fun. Look for your ingredients list and any instructions or questions you may have, please leave them in the comments. And until next time, thank you from Monarch Cafe.